are about to witness the very exciting story of a city and its people.
Welcome to motherfucking Detroit.
What up, though? This is Detroit Bell, another No Name podcast. If you have not done it, please go over to our YouTube page and subscribe. Hit that like button, bing. Hit that subscribe button, bang. And hit the notification button, bing, boom, boom, bang. You get everything that we upload. For instance, we go live every Monday and Friday from 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we talk about everything sports. So that means NBA, NHL sometimes, and what's the other one? MLB. Sometimes we do college. I mean, we do some of all the sports. We touch on a lot of different sport topics. We are a heavy NFL subject matter when it comes to that, but we do try to touch on most of the major sports. So if you are a sports fan and you just want to chop it up about sports, jump in the chats, and come on, watch us live and we can talk about sports. Also, if you are a Jet fan and you just want to talk about everything Jets, the big homie Nick Shine, his Proud Jets fan page is there too. And if you are a Chiefs fan, you can go to watch Wildcard Chief, and he talks everything Kansas City Chief. But over here, we talk everything Detroit Lions on the No Name podcast. And if you can see from the title, we're going to talk about post-draft. I've been gone for a while, been on hiatus, had to go on vacation, celebrate with the fam and stuff like that. But I'm back, and I watched the draft both days, and I kind of watched my notification on the third day. Let me say this, though, before we get into the show, too. NFL is king. They had you talking everything NFL from the off season on to now, and then especially with the last 3 days of the draft, from Thursday to Sunday, we were talking NFL. NFL, when it comes to marketing, know what they're doing. So I might have to go off to the NFL when it comes to that. So first, I'm gonna give you my initial reaction. When I was watching day one, I saw they took Gibbs. I was like, oh my God, why are they taking Gibbs? They passed on Carter. They passed on Tyree Wilson. They passed on. I'm like, what are they doing? And then second pick, they picked Campbell, which I wanted to see Trent Simmons from Clemson. But they got Campbell. I was like, okay, well, at least they got a linebacker. So, I kind of like, all right. So then the second pick, I was like, oh, please, Pittsburgh, don't pick Joey Porter Jr. Let them get Joey Porter Jr. Pittsburgh get Joey Porter Jr. I'm like, oh, man, no, all the good picks. Because, let me back up. I wanted them to get Gonzalez. So they got opportunity to get Gonzalez. No, we didn't get Gonzalez at 15. I was like, oh, come on, man. So anyway, get to second round, they pick Laporta. I'm like, why the heck they picking Laporta over Mayer? Mayer and Kincaid were supposed to be the best tight ends out there. And then maybe Laporta. I'm like, come on, Lance. So I'm going this roller coaster, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. What are y'all doing? So then, I start watching some of the, like I always do, I watch some of the Lion shows, and I'm listening to everybody saying it's the worst draft ever and this and that, blah, blah, blah. So, like for me, let me say this about me. I'm a type of person, I'm going to try to see how this person is thinking so I can understand how they're thinking before I make a decision on whether I agree or disagree with them. And so I started watching the press conference, and I waited till the whole entire draft was over, including UDAs and everything, see what they picked. And I kind of analyzed. That's kind of the reason why I didn't want to hurry up and jump in and make a video too, because I wanted to kind of just see how everything shakes out. And then I come to a conclusion because I was on this up and down with like, what is Brad Holmes doing? What are they? I can't take this. What are they doing? And then, I started listening to some people and they like, if we disagree with them, then or if I show any kind of support towards this draft, I'm a slappy. Well, no, not really. Sometimes I look at things from a different perspective. And it had nothing to do with me being slappy because Brad Holmes, if say somebody I disagree with, I'm gonna say, nah, I don't agree with that. And I have made videos where I disagree with some of the things he did or question some of the things he did and wasn't sure about some of the things he did. But at the same time, if I see something I like, I'm gonna praise it. And so I look at it from like this. What did the Lions need? Well, we know we needed we need a corner. We need a linebacker. We needed depth on the offensive line. Probably need to get a receiver because for the 6 games that J-Mo is suspended. And we probably needed some special team help. Oh, I'm sorry. And a backup quarterback. Because, Nate Sudfeld's just not a great backup quarterback. So, as you start looking how things shook out, and you got the trade from DeAndre Swift, whether or not you agree with the trade or not, that's a whole nother discussion. But just based on needs, Brad Holmes filled all the holes that we need. He got a replacement for DeAndre Swift in Jahmyr Gibbs. He got the linebacker in Jack Campbell. He got a replacement for TJ Hockenson with Sam Laporta. He got one of the best safeties in diversified safety in Brian Branch. So now he feels a safety need and also a cornerback need because he can play corner he can probably play corner in nickel. He got the backup quarterback need filled with Hendon Hooker. He got the D tackle filled with Broderick Martin. He got your backup O-line help in Kobe Soradale. He got a receiver in Antoine Green. Then you go over to the UDAs. He gets another offensive tackle out of Baylor with Connor Gavin. Gets another linebacker out of Illinois with Isaac Darkangelo. Then he gets this is another pick I think that goes under the radar. He gets another quarterback in Adrian Martinez who is similar to Hendon Hooker. He the poor man Hendon Hooker. So that means, definitely getting rid of Nate Sudfeld. Now you got 2 pretty good backup quarterbacks. If Adrian Martinez develops, he can be a backup quarterback to Hendon Hooker if they decide to move on to Jared Goff. Now you got 2 solid quarterbacks. Then you look at Muhammad Ibrahim out of Minnesota. Now you got another running back. So you might move on from Craig Reynolds, Justin Jackson. I can't remember if they got rid of Justin Jackson yet or not, so that's why I mentioned it. You get another corner in Sterling Thomas from UAB. You get another offensive lineman, Brad Cecil out of South Florida. Another offensive tackle, Ryan Swoboda, UCF. Another receiver in Chase Cota, who probably ended up being the special teams because he has a long strides, but he don't have the breakaway speed. So he probably could be a good gunner somewhere on special teams. Out of Oregon, another safety in Brandon Joseph, who look like from Notre Dame, who look like he may be pretty good or pretty decent. Let me say that if he develops. Another defensive lineman in Zach Morton out of Akron. Another wide receiver, was it Keaton? I think it's Keaton Thompson out of Virginia. Defensive tackle Chris Smith out of Notre Dame. And from the great Saginaw Valley State, you got another linebacker from Trevor. Nowaski, something like that. So you got backups here. Not all of them might not make the team, but you got enough hodgepodge of different players that you can pick from. And if they develop, you got depth in every position. So I like it now. I didn't like it at first, It's starting to warm up to me. Now, is what's my man name? Is Roger Martin gonna develop and be a great nose tackle? I don't know. But I think if you look at what the Lions have done with other players and how they develop other players, if they can polish up what he's weak in, polish up his weakness, polish up his technique, he can be that defensive tackle that you need, that you got in on the cheap. That's another thing I like. I'm a big believer in if I can find diamonds in the rough as a business person, then you're doing great, because then you don't have to pay him as much. You can keep the salary cap down, and as this team start to get momentum and become better and better as a team, it's not so hard to sign so many players because you aren't paying this much. And that's so hard. Let me say, not so hard to stay on a salary cap, because now you got players that you don't have to pay as much, so keeping that salary down, versus you have all high draft picks. Now you got to figure out how to keep them all on your team. So let's see what happens. Let's see how it shakes out. Is it disappointing because they didn't get the Joey Porters and the Gonzalez and the Nolan Smiths of the world? Yes, it's a little disappointing on that level. But it's just interesting how I heard people say prior to the draft, man, Holmes did so much in free agency that, he can go anywhere in the draft. I don't care who he draft first, and how he draft. I'm gonna stick with him. And Holmes we trust, and this and that. And as soon as he do something we don't like, everybody talking about it's the worst draft in the world. Now, that's not me. Once again, I keep saying this because I know somebody will get in the comments talking about I'm a slappy. It's just me looking at it from a different perspective than you're looking at. I'm not saying that I agree everything Holmes done here or in general, but I like to look at things from a different slant, different angle, and different perspective. And I think if you look at it from a outside totality, and it's a totality, and look at, okay, all the needs have been filled. Yeah, are they question marks? But there's a question marks in Jalen Carter. There's no guarantee Jalen Carter will be a star. You would think because of the higher in talent, or higher in, what's the word I want to look for? Maybe not talent, but the higher potential is there because of where he played, and the talent is there. So you're looking at, okay, so it's a greater chance that he may succeed. But there's a lot of players that came out of big schools who did well in college and they have a great pro career. There's players that came out of college who became injury prone. There's no guarantee with none of these players. So if you can get a Broderick Martin to become a Bruce Smith who came out of small school, or you can get Antoine Green become I'm not even gonna call out a receiver because I don't want to say, oh, you trying to say you're gonna be, no, I'm not saying that, but you get the Antoine Green to become a great receiver, a good receiver. Let's not even say great, a good receiver from the University of North Carolina. Then you calling Brett Holmes a genius. And it's not only about Brett Holmes, it's more about me looking at the draft from a different perspective. I keep reiterating that because I know how we get in these comments. You know what I'm saying? I know how we get in these comments. I'm looking at what he did, what we have, what we needed. I'm with you. People who want the big names, I'm with you on that. I'm not disagreeing with that. But here it is. The milk is spilled. Are we gonna cry or get a rag and keep it moving? That's how I look at it. Like, okay, did we do really that bad that we can't work with what we have? I like the fact you got the Muhammad Ibrahim, because he can't catch out the backfield like Swift could or like Gibbs able to do. But he does have great juke ability. He can move, plant his foot, move through the holes. He had, he's a little hesitant on which hole, his first move, first step. That's something that can be coached. That's something that can be developed through coaching. So you line him up in the backfield, Gibbs out in a slot. That's hard to stop. You got Montgomery in the backfield, Gibbs out in the slot. So it's like it's different things you can do. And like Brad Holmes said, I didn't just look at Jahmyr Gibbs as a running back, I looked at him as a weapon. I think that was interesting he said that. I looked at him as a weapon. Some people didn't like the Sam Laporta. You know, I think he could be another great tight end that people will talk about. Another weapon for Jared Goff. He likes to block. He can catch. Now he needs to get better with the contested catches. That's something that can be coached out of him. So there's some tweaks here and there had to be done, but I think all in all, it wasn't as bad as everybody think it is. It wasn't an F. C plus, B minus maybe. It wasn't an F though. I don't think it was an F because getting Brian Branch and one of the best safeties in the draft was good. Let's see what happens when they get on the field. Now I'm anticipating, or how they say, waiting with bated breath. Did I say that right? It was bated breath. I don't know. I haven't heard it saying it so long, but I'm waiting to see what's going to happen in August when preseason start, then to the regular season. But I'll get down in the comments. Let's chop it up. Don't come with the nonsense though. Let's have a real meaningful thought provoking conversation. The nonsense is just not. I mean, I heard enough negative about this. I just want to see what people think about this perspective and just looking at it from this standpoint. Because anybody getting this say, "Oh, they suck." Okay, why you say they suck? Oh, they trash. Or why this is a trash thing? Why is it trash? Let me know. Or what I say, what you say don't make sense. Or why it don't make sense? Tell me why. Anyway, like, share, subscribe. Please hit that like button because you know how YouTube is about that algorithm. And then, like I said before, if you want to check us out live, where we can get more in depth and we can get interactive, 4 p.m. Monday, 4 p.m. Thursday, Eastern Standard Time. Jump in. Until next time, peace.